What is up, comic fans? All right, I'm back with another video on the topic of whatnot. If you haven't seen the last one, be sure to go check it out and hit that thumbs up while the intro plays. You got a lot to talk about with this one. Thank you to Big Time Collectibles for sponsoring the monthly Legion Loot giveaway for the channel members. Be sure to hit that join button down below and become a channel member. If you need anything cleaned or pressed, hit up Justin over on Instagram. Let him know you found him via the channel. Take advantage of the special offer he runs for viewers of the channel. And a huge shout out to my local shop and local sponsor, the Augusta Book Exchange. Hit the description, hit the links to find any of the sponsors. And let's kick it off. I do have my friend Beckerman back with me today. He was here with me on that last video. So we're back to talk about whatnot. And this one is going to be a little bit different than the last one. So Becker pretty much is to blame for getting me to go hang out on whatnot. Despite his smile, I don't know if it's necessarily a good thing.
It's not.
For numerous reasons. Now, I have not been a fan of whatnot since its inception due to countless reasons. And I'm not really going to get into any of those reasons as they were kind of apparent when they were happening. And well, I'll just put them out there. Like the way that it feels like an unsafe marketplace to peddle BS and take advantage of a community that doesn't know any better is how it feels to me. And I'm not really going to dive into all that. Those were events attached to, or feelings attached to certain events that were happening, like with the acetate cover and all these whatnot exclusives and the favoritism that they were pushing and showing towards sellers versus other people trying to move over to an expanding market. It just seemed like a weird ground, but they've had some time to get settled, get through a lot of things. And now Beckerman is to blame for telling me about Rob Liefeld's whatnot stream. He's exclusive to whatnot because that's just where he chooses to be. It's not like he has like some kind of greater deal. I don't know if he does or doesn't, but I love the guy. Love the guy's art. Love his work. He's fantastic and fun to hang out with. But since that last video where we spoke about that, I actually gave whatnot a fair shake. I went through and I've checked out some other channels, hung out in some other chats, even tried to look up some of the toy content and stuff they have over there. And now I'm dealing with mixed feelings about it. And I want to dive into some of that today. And I want Becker here to give some of his takes on it as well. And we're going to do it while we open another package from Rob Liefeld. So Becker, I know you. Yeah, go. I want you to kind of give me an idea how long you've really been bouncing around on whatnot, looking at it, because this is all new to me. Like as of this recording, last night was the first time I spent any fair amount of time kind of checking out the app.
Well, I would say it's been a couple months that I've been really like keeping up with it. A lot of artists are going there. And I'm an art guy. So artists like Kyle Strom and Scotty Young and Rob Liefeld have been doing whatnot. And where there's art, there will be me.
So shout out to what's his name? Dave, working for Liefeld.
Shout out to Dave.
So it was in that big box, but I told him like it was shaking in there, but I'm sure it's packaged safe. There was a Gemini wrapped in bubble wrap in there. So shout out to Dave if they ever look up content to try to see what people think of their stuff. But anyways, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So basically I'm an art collector. Several artists have moved their sales to whatnot. Rob, has always been a free spirit. He doesn't have an art rep. For people who don't know, a lot of us that buy art go through reps like Felix, Essentials, Sequential, people like that who handle multiple artists and do big drops on their websites of a lot of art at once of a specific artist. Well, Rob just takes that out of the middleman and does it himself and doesn't have a rep. He just has a shipper, and yeah, they're doing just fine on whatnot, I think.
So tell me about like your actual experience with the app itself, like the usability of the app, the experience with buying things or with the sellers. Like what's your actual feelings?
I had a mixed experience. I think there are channels doing it well that are keeping it fun and keeping my interest, like Rob. And then there are channels I go and I'm in there for 5 minutes and I get out. I'm not going to be the guy that I don't have unlimited resources, so I'm not just there to throw money at people. But if you make fun conversation like Kyle Strom, if you've got topics I care about, or if you're just a personality like Rob, I'll be there. As far as buying comic books on Whatnot, not as much. I've done a little bit of it here and there, and again, it's all about just hitting the right stream at the right time to see something I wanted. Like I stopped in a stream and bought a Ken Lashley book, and then moved on because it was. I mean, the conversation was really spec douchey, if that's a
yeah. So I'm kind of coming in hot to this video. Like I'm kind of fresh off the frustrated training. This is a conversation that's been had and talked about before, like gatekeeping in the comic community. And people seem to either be hot or cold on the topic of gatekeeping in any community. And we've kind of talked about it in a little bit more detail than surface level, but any and all communities, I feel, deserve a certain level of gatekeeping. I don't mean telling any certain type of person or any specific idea they're not allowed in because of that idea, but a certain level of gatekeeping that protects the hobby from potential grifters, people with bad intentions, stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to say anyone's allowed to set up shop and sell here, especially that guy with the snake oil. You know, like if you recognize the fact that someone's selling snake oil, you want to point it out.
That essential now.
Yeah, you want to point out the BS to potentially protect your neighbors, your community members, your friends, your family. I feel like there's a level of gatekeeping that should be done, and I don't know. I think it is being done, though. I don't think anyone's missing out on that. There's plenty of content creators, plenty of social media people and stuff like that, influencers that kind of have made their following off of pointing out what they perceive as the negatives attached to other people and stuff like that. And it can get excessive to the point that they're just no better than who they're complaining about. But I see why they do it after spending some time on this platform, because I sent a couple messages to you last night, and one of the first things I found was a very influential person. He's on YouTube. Apparently he's on Whatnot as well, just scrolling through, that was just putting slabs up, and he gives people advice on investing, on books, on this and that. And he literally didn't know anything about the books. All he knew was what he was reading off the labels of the slabs. He was getting legendary creators' names wrong. He was unable to answer questions from the chat. He was just, and it makes me think, like, it doesn't matter what merchandise you hand this person, this is all they're going to do. It has nothing to do with the books. It has nothing to do with the community. It's just somebody like,
for all we know, a year ago he was selling timeshares, and now he's selling comic books.
In all honesty, it felt dirty. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. I just feel like there's certain hobbies that passion is part of the hobby. Like, you don't have to be as passionate as the next guy, but like not having any passion or love for what it is, what the art form is, it's like, it makes me wonder why they're there, kind of thing. But it kind of just got under my skin listening to him mispronounce repetitively the name of a legendary people who made this industry what it is.
Well, one thing I would interject there is, we both have been doing comic book shops and conventions for a really long time, in different parts of the country. And I would say we both probably have the same experience of, most comic book shops, most dealers at conventions, they want your money, but they also know what they're selling you.
Yeah.
The old guard, you know, it was just uneducated dealers didn't stay in business. But now you have this like influx of like people that washed out of other careers that just fell into this during the pandemic and are like, well, I can make money at this now.
Yeah, and there's the next thing I wanted to kind of touch on, because I don't want to keep people here all day.
Yep.
But the next thing was lazy sellers. Like, and it comes from this mindset, and this narrative got put out by another heavily influential person in the hobby. Make the hobby fund itself. Make the hobby fund itself. No, you don't. You don't have to make any hobby fund itself. That's why it's called a hobby, not a job. So now that people have this mindset that, oh, I'm getting into comics, I'm being told that the hobby is supposed to fund itself, I'm supposed to get into comics and start selling comics. Stop. You should not be selling comics. The majority of people on that platform, on social media that are selling books, you shouldn't be selling comics. I'm watching people lying about books left and right on that platform, putting outrageous prices like $50, $60, $70 on $5 books left and right because they think the hobby is supposed to fund itself. This, in any hobby, is not one that you can just step into and be a dealer, be a seller. Without connects and the ability to sell books at the proper price and still make a profit, you shouldn't be doing it. If you have to cap a book 300%, shit, if you have to cap it 50% over fair market value, you shouldn't be selling it. You can't afford to sell it. And it seems like common sense. If you can't get books for less than fair market value, you shouldn't be selling books.
Yeah, why then don't do it.
Yeah, why you think you should be selling these books, you're going to be successful or able at it when there's countless other people that do have those connections, that have put in that time, that have drove those miles to do this and that. Like and that's in any hobby. Like that just got under my skin watching how many sellers were lying about the condition, the rarity, the value of their book, and then putting fantastic prices on it. And they weren't selling. No one was buying them. And it's like, dude, you don't realize that's why?
Nobody must want to buy tonight. No, they just don't want to buy from you.
It was mind-blowing. I guess the next thing, and you touched on it, like the entertainment value. Man, a lot of those things are rough to watch. There's even people that just turn their live stream on and it has a sign that says, click my buy it now tab. And they're not even there. They just have their phone running live at nothing at all other than a sign that wants you to.
I haven't run into that yet.
I ran into a lot of them.
That's creepy. See, I don't go looking for books there. I like to go out in the wild and hunt. Toby Keith doesn't want to be fed. Toby Keith wants to hunt.
I hear you. So getting back to it, man, I guess I got these books unloaded. Let's end it on a high note. I'm big excited for this. I do want to say again, I know like Rob Liefeld I thought was hit or miss for people based on how again, surface level comments and stuff are on social media, but clearly from the response of that last video, Rob Liefeld is one of the most influential comic creators in the game, changed the game. And just, if you don't believe me, go check the comment section from the last Whatnot video I put up, and you'll see countless people's personal stories of getting into comics because of Rob Liefeld and how they still pick up books to this day.
And I think it's because a lot of the people in the YouTube side of the hobby are around the same age. We're all in a key demographic. And we all grew up. So the generation before us and after us may dislike Rob, but we're in that sweet spot where we have very fond memories of breaking into comics with Rob Liefeld.
Yeah, I think the generation before us liked him too, because he was one of the interesting bad boys that were changing the game for them. Now he's a living legend. He's literally a living legend in the industry. But I do want to say he's one of the nicest guys ever. He might be a wild card. Shout out, It's Always Sunny. He's definitely the wild card of the wild card. But I came into a show wanting a specific book from over a year ago. It was one issue that was put out. There was a couple of covers for it. He did 2 of the covers for it, and I wanted it. And I asked him if he had it, and he saw my comments Legion, I know right where one is. Remind me in just a little bit, and I'll be happy to go grab it for you. He got up later in the show, went and got it for me, and he showed it off. He said, I know you've been looking for it. You've been asking about it. A lot of the topic of the show became based off that question. I asked that before he pulled any of that other stuff out for the Fighting American, and I asked him, I wanted his Mighty Crusaders #1, The Shield, and he went and pulled it. It was the A cover. He said, I'm going to sign it for you, and since you really want it, I'm going to put it up for cheap. He put it up for $20. Because of somebody else, the last minute, they battled it out for me, but I wasn't going to lose this book. No chance. Paid a little bit more than 20. I think I paid 40 for it, but a gorgeous signature. I asked him if he would chisel it. He said he's not going to do it since he's going to run it so cheap, but there's more to that story, because as soon as I won that one, he said, you don't have to ask me twice. I got a special surprise for you. And this was God, I don't remember if it was a ratio or a 1 per store or something like that, but it was one of those things. And he pulled out the Virgin, and he chiseled it and put it up. And of course, I won that too. That same jerk attempted to beat me at the bid, and it wasn't about to happen. Like I ended up just putting in an excessive max bid, so I wouldn't have to keep bidding back and forth. Every time the jabroni put in a bid, it didn't even change to his name winning. So that is
yeah, I love it.
A phenomenal book. For those that don't know, this is the very.
I'm going to trigger Mark real quick. That just looks like some Captain America knockoff, man.
And that's where all of the conversation came from. If you don't know about the Shield, this is where they ripped Captain America from. Captain America is literally a rip-off Shield, all the way down to his origin, all the way down to his original Shield, all the way down
his
to the
creators,
everything. He's a literal rip-off. So Archie Comics, Riverdale, Archie, Jughead, they produced an incredible stock of superheroes that are pretty much lost to history at this point. And the Mighty Crusaders was their big team. The Shield was the very first patriotic hero, and it's just fantastic character. I love his design. It's pretty much been uniform over the years with slight modifications, but that's what you see is what you get. And Rob Liefeld captures it amazingly. And that blue and white chisel is just fantastic.
You know who does remember the Shield and Fighting American? Rob Liefeld. Rob Liefeld remembers.
Because he knows
he was serving up humble pie to the people that wanted.
What do you say? Go get smart or go get wise and booted the guy.
Yeah, go get wise. Go get
wise and booted a guy for kept saying they look like Captain America knockoffs. And Captain America's not even the second.
Now, Fighting American did come after Captain America.
He was a literal response to them bringing Captain America back into the Avengers and stuff. They wanted to do something else. They didn't like the fact that Cap was being brought back without them after his original Golden Age run.
So I got a color key from Fighting American. This is Rob's cover. And if you don't know what a color key is, they're pretty neat. This is literally all the layers of color they put in.
Oh, wow.
And when you put them all together, you get what the finished product is going to look like. And Rob chiseled.
That is ridiculously sweet.
And Rob chiseled it and signed it. Everything in his art drop was chiseled and signed, which I love. For those that don't know, the
chisel is that specific remark style signature in 3D.
And it's basically his art signature.
Yes.
There are different types of chisels. There's the splattered chisel. There's the drop shadow, like Mark, one he showed us, the drop shadow. Here's just the art chisel. And this is on I'm going to call it a pencil prelim. But Rob does say that his process that he's been using for a while now is that he draws stuff in pencil, small, then blows it up and inks it. So this is a Hawk and Dove cover from his run. What, about 10 years ago? 11?
Yeah, and he created that iteration of Dove, correct?
Correct. And look at that chisel, Mark. The art chisel. The art signature. And then he signed it normal.
The cape and everything.
And this is going to get a professional frame job, and I think I'm going to put it in with the cover.
Yeah, that's freaking amazing.
But this is the cover to Hawk and Dove issue 4, for those wondering. And it is gorgeous. Yeah, I would call this a prelim, but fantastic. And the prices were good. He wasn't trying to take all your money.
No. And it was another fantastic show just to hang out in. Even I shared out the stream to the Legion, and a lot of people showed up. It was a good time. What else you picked up from him that night, Becker?
That was it.
Awesome.
Those two things.
I don't want to drag people over the 20-minute mark, but I do want to, if you're still with us at this point, I appreciate it. I know it's a long video, but it is what it is. I do want to hear some people's experiences. If you have any sellers that you suggest to check out, I'm willing to give this platform another shot. I'll definitely be back to hang out in the Liefeld stream. I know my sponsor, Big Time Collectibles, does stuff over there. My sponsor, ABX, is looking at do some stuff over there. It's just the natural progression of going to sell. It's so convenient for sellers. The labels are built. The payment's automatic. It's not going anywhere. This platform is here to stay until eBay tells them otherwise, kind of thing at this point. And I think even if eBay gets their live option rocking and rolling, you would still have people using WhatNot, just not to the same degree. But I definitely want to have a good experience. It's just, I mean, it's tough. I would like to hear people's experiences in the chat, some feedback, and definitely recommend some trusted sellers and some honest sellers. Beckman, I appreciate you hopping on and showing that stuff off, man, and Tony and hanging.
Of course, sir. And I appreciated you being in there, not just because we're friends, but it was great because you got Rob talking about stuff that, you know, you don't hear a lot outside of his podcast, or and just all the misinformation out there when everybody tried to shout him down with oh, you're just ripping off Captain America. First of all, these aren't Rob's characters. And he talked about how he got access to them and how that whole deal
burning down the chat before Rob got to it. I was like, nope. Yeah, y'all need to Google this person. Y'all need to Google that person. Yeah, it was fantastic to listen to. But I know we're just kind of blessed to have spent a lot of time in this hobby. I was blessed to be born into it, so I don't take that for granted. I know not a lot of other people don't have that experience, so I just try to point out, hey, check this out. Hey, check that out. This is where this is, because I think that the comic history is one of the most interesting parts of this hobby. Not just buying new books or selling comic books. It's the historical aspect of it. That's why I put those videos out every Monday now, because I'm trying to share that excitement and hope that a little surface level look at different topics might spark someone's interest to go look deeper and find out how vast the well of the love for comics really is.
And you know me well enough to know that's my sweet spot. I love comic book history, and I'm always down to talk about it.
That's really what got us talking to begin with, where we started. And yeah, there's not too many people. We've got Paul Cook, we've got Brother John's Comics, we have Pops. There's some people that we know that have been in this hobby for decades. But I mean, that's few and far between. There's a lot more people that have gotten into it post MCU Day. You know, that's really drawn a lot of people in. But yeah, I just hope people continue to look into the comics history, continue to find a deeper appreciation, a deeper passion, a deeper love for this hobby. And I hope that the grifters, liars, and BSers kind of just naturally fade away because people get wise. That's gonna do it for this video. Again, thank you everybody who's watching this long. I know it's a long video. Just be like that sometimes. But until next time, as always, I'm Mark, but we are Legion.